Okay, if I have my order right, we've got one more candidate, and it's Spencer Cox. Please welcome Spencer Cox to the stage.
Oh, there's still people here. There's a jazz game starting.
Yeah.
And Greg Hughes ate all the red gummy bears before he left. And I think he's out idling his car somewhere.
We're going to end with a boom. Spencer, we've been opening up these 10-minute conversations where you can share a personal insight. I wondered if we know so much about you because you've been in an elected office and all. But I'd love you to, do you have a personal motto that you would share with the audience? And just to be honest, they asked the Democratic candidates that last night in the debate. I don't know if you noticed that. But I'm going to ask,
yet to
and
watch
they were quoting
any
scripture.
Of the Democratic debate.
They were quoting scripture. But do you have a personal motto?
A personal motto?
That guides you.
For me, and our family, it's empathy. That's the word that has been the watchword. It's what we've tried to teach our kids, our children. Growing up in a small town in very poor circumstances, there were so many people that changed my life and reached out to me. When my parents got divorced when I was young, I was bullied in school, went through a really rough time, and the empathy that I was shown changed my life, and it's our job to give that back.
Yeah. Thank you. We want to hear your one big idea for air quality.
My one big idea for air quality, well, as Lieutenant Governor, I'm very fortunate because I get to work on all my big ideas. And Tier 3 gasoline was one of our big ideas. Our big idea this year was we have to increase the infrastructure around electric charging stations. And we put $60 million in the budget for that. And then Rocky Mountain Power stepped up yesterday and announced they're doing it for $50 million. They deserve a round of applause wherever they are. But I know you don't want to ask what we did. My big idea, I am lucky, I get to serve as the chair of the Point of the Mountain Authority Board. We have not just a once in a generation, we have a once in a lifetime opportunity to do something very, very special on the 700 acres where the prison sits now and is going to be moved. One of the problems we have in our state is every time we talk about growth or density, people recoil. We have a chance, and we think far too small in Utah. We have a chance to do something amazing there, where we can look at a city of the future with density to show people that you can have growth in the right way. And here's the kicker, and I've been working with the mayor of Draper on this, having that development be carless and show the rest of the state we can do this in a really cool way.
That's a big idea. Spencer, you have a lot of rural bona fides. You live in rural Utah.
That was my mom clapping back there.
Air quality is primarily an urban problem, although not exclusively. But I'm wondering what you would share with us. We have on Capitol Hill the Cowboy Caucus, the Rural Caucus, the Yellow Cake Caucus. How would you work with them to make more progress in urban Utah on air quality?
How would I work with rural Utah to make more progress in urban Utah?
Because, you may need their votes or...
Sure. Yeah. Well, look, one of the things that they appreciate in rural Utah is that they're not urban Utah, and I feel very lucky to live in an airshed where we don't have those same problems. But they understand that they can't get anything done without the help of urban Utah. There just aren't enough of us, and we're about to redistrict the state, and rural Utah will lose additional voices in the legislature. We'll lose representation because the Wasatch Front is growing so much faster. And so we have to work together on those issues that matter. I had a legislator several years ago, for his own safety, I won't say his name. He said, why should I care, an urban legislator say, why should I care about rural Utah? And I said, well, I can't think of any reason unless you care about your energy, your water, your food, or your recreation. And those are the things that we share in common. And so I think that's where the opportunities come to say, hey, look, we have to clean up the Wasatch Front because that's the center of commerce in our state. And the rest of Utah benefits because of the things that are happening tonight, the things that are happening right here in Salt Lake City. And we need the support of urban Utah and vice versa.
Thank you. I spent a little time on your website last night just trying to prepare for this debate.
It's votecox.com if she forgot to tell you.
And I realize you can't put everything on your website, but you highlight 12 issues on your website. including the Second Amendment, defending the Constitution, and a rural focus. I did not see an emphasis on air quality.
Well, that's because we're going to release a big thing on air quality at some point.
This is your chance.
So yes.
Because my question is just, is it really a priority, and are you willing to get it on your website? So you can tell them here.
Oh, and the answer is absolutely yes. This is something we've been working on and that we're planning on. Look, when we talk about this next election, right, I believe that there are two things that are critical. The first is education, and we're not here to talk about that, but that is the most. Look, we can get all of these other things right, and if we screw up education, it won't matter. Conversely, we can not get any of this right, and if we get education right, we'll be just fine. I truly believe that. But the second piece of that are the growth issues that are impacting people. And of course, air quality is preeminent amongst those. And the thing I'm so excited about right now is that this is no longer a partisan issue, right? This is a health issue, it's a Utah issue, it's an us issue. We have a bipartisan clean air caucus in the legislature, which is doing amazing work. We have a Democratic legislator who, without any government money, put out a website on Tier 3 gasoline. I don't know if Representative Harrison is here, but that's the kind of innovation that's happening, and yes, she deserves a round of applause for that. This is one of the defining issues of the next 10 years in our state. Do we get this right, and who is the person that can do that?
Thank you. You have made a big deal about education, appropriately so. Do you see a connection between air quality and education?
Well, I certainly do. First of all, what's interesting, and look, I know the governor, I'm sure, told everyone how great we're doing, and we are. In the last just 8 years, we've dropped from 410 tons per day emissions on the Wasatch Front to 285 tons. That's a 30% decrease in those emissions. And the air's cleaner now than it's been at any point in our lifetimes, and we should be celebrating that. The problem is that we know from medical science that bad air is worse for us than we thought, especially for brain development, right? And so there is a direct tie between brain development and the way our young people, especially in young people, expecting mothers and the elderly. And we have to solve that health issue so that brain development can continue in a positive way. And so there is a direct connection there. And not just that, but if kids can't go outside and play, they do worse in school. We just know that.
Thank you. I thought you would make that connection. Spencer, you live a long ways from the state capitol. I believe it's a 200-mile round-trip commute. Am I getting it about right?
Correct. 98 miles from my front door to the capitol.
There's a lot of air emissions when that happens. Tell us, well, have you thought of ways to either offset that or I just would love your reaction. I think people want to ask questions like that.
So how can I do better, right?
Well, I think it's so admirable what you've done and what you've done for your family and all that, but it does create this little challenge. Everybody has their own challenge in air quality. Yeah. This is a challenge. Is there something you've done to offset that?
Sure. So I think the best answer is if you elect me governor, I won't do that anymore. And
Give me a high.
we'll clean up the air. More importantly, though, I do not, on red air days, I don't do that commute. I work from home on red air days. We have the technology to do that. The other thing I'm really proud of, I started the telecommuting program at the state. We ran an experiment with 130 employees. It's now up to 250. By the end of this year, 2,500 state employees will be working from home 3 to 5 days a week, taking hundreds of pounds of emissions out of the air every day. So teleworking is the best way to do that.
Yeah, very good. I also noticed on your website some comments about your thoughts about economic development. And I wanted to just specifically ask you, the Governor's Office of Economic Development has helped lead us through the longest sustained expansion in our state's history. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was all me, guys. You're welcome.
Yeah, but you reference on your website, about wanting to change the way incentives are given in our state, and I thought you might want to make a connection to air quality and that. I don't know, but...
Sure, absolutely. So look, we have 2.3% unemployment right now. We've led the nation in private sector job growth at 36% over the last 10 years. The next closest state is 27%. We are doing phenomenal, and GoEd has played a huge role in that, and the economic incentives that have brought so many businesses here. Now it's time to rethink those incentives. One of the ways to do that is to focus more on workforce. That's what we need now is workforce. Companies are coming here, whether we give them incentives or not. We don't need that. But there is a piece of this that matters. One, incentivizing businesses out of this airshed in rural Utah. By creating jobs there, that will allow people to not have to be here all of the time. And that certainly helps. So that's one way. The other way is to make sure, again, we're incentivizing the right things. So are we able to incentivize these clean air initiatives? We've done some of that. Tier 3 gasoline doesn't happen if we don't work on that bill to give them the tax break that they needed for the equipment that they had to buy to bring in Tier 3 gasoline. That's the model for Utah. We're not going to regulate our way out of this, but we can encourage people to do it the right way.
Thank you. We have one more question. We're out of time. I would love you to give us one word that would describe your air quality leadership and what's needed. One word.
So, one word. Has vision been taken?
Someone's been texting this guy.
Twitter is amazing, you guys. You should check. Solutions.
Solutions.
Thank you.
Spencer Cox.
Thank you, everybody.
Well done, Spencer. Thank you.